The UK has warned its citizens against traveling to the nation's capital, Abuja. It also warned against all but essential travel to about 13 other states, including Bauchi, Kano, Jigawa, Niger, Sokoto, Abia, Plateau, Delta, Bayelsa, and Rivers states. It comes as the UK and the US warned of a possible terrorist attack on Abuja, with government buildings, places of worship, and schools being particularly targeted. The United States authorized the departure of non-emergency employees and their families from Nigeria, with some diplomats leaving today. A former spokesman for the Nigerian Army, retired Brigadier General Sani Kukasheka Usman, joins us now to get his views on these developments. Thank you so much for joining us on News Night.
Thank you very much for having me on your program.
Yes, indeed. I wonder what you make of this security alerts coming from the US, and on the heels of that, the UK has actually warned its citizens not to travel to Abuja, where we are, and apparently there are a few other states, 13 other states. What's the extent of security threat that we're facing? What exactly are we dealing with here?
Well, I understand the fear and apprehension, as well as a concern by every, Nigerian and resident in this country on the basis of these travel advisories and some of the actions that have been carried out so far. Take, for instance, the closure of, the major shopping mall in Abuja and some schools that have international students and what have you. But again, of course, the proactive measures being taken by the security forces. So when you add that together, definitely it calls for concern on the part of the citizens. But to a discerning mind, when you critically evaluate this issue, this is not the first time these Western countries have been given this advisory warning, and you have to just oppose it with the previous instances. And given the fact that in a few months, we are going to have the 2023 general elections. So there is heightened political activities in the country. Remember, before 2015 general elections, there was a prediction that Nigeria may even break. Right. And the same thing was 2019. Now we have another general election, the same story. But that notwithstanding, these people, whenever they come out with such things, either they know something or possibly there is something that is going to happen. So we should not in any way take it for granted. Let there be, concerted effort on the part of the security agencies and concerted efforts on the part of citizens. And I like the way the gentleman from that estate, particularly the management or the association, took issues, and we don't need to panic. Right. And part of the problems that we have, if only that we have been informed about this, it may interest you to know that the security forces in this country are doing marvelously well. There were instances, particularly on the 1st of October, there could have been terrorist attack on some selected targets, but they were able to nip that on the bud. They are not making noise about that. Then again, the people that are giving you travel advisory warning with their technology, knowledge and everything, they were unable to, detect some of the, criminal activities going on in their countries. And just of recent, an individual went to a particular place and killed 18 people, and it was not detected. Now, I am coming to that. What I'm trying to make out of this, wherever it is, you have to take into cognizance these factors. But the bottom line is, you should not take it for granted. No information should be discontinued, when it concerns security. Not just security, but everything else. So with that, you can be able to have a better and more secure society.
Right. But at the end of the day, this repeated warnings, like you have actually alluded to as well, must be based on some sort of credible evidence. Would you say we're seeing a commiserate reaction from the security forces, especially looking at the tension in Abuja?
That is exactly what I'm saying. And in fact, coming to this place, the security arrangement within your facility is not the way it used to be before. And I've seen the the evidences, right from the gate up to, coming to this place. So, and it is the same thing with other facilities. Anybody, particularly in Abuja, you notice the renewed, tightened security, because possibly it could be because of this possibly because of other things. What I'm trying to say is that they are not taking things for granted. Right. And we encourage them to not to take things for granted. And not just them, every other person should also be security conscious, because we have no idea whether, this thing could be true or not, given the fact that in previous instances they even predicted the total disintegration of this Nigeria or this country. It has not happened. So, but that notwithstanding, you should not take any security information for granted. No. And I believe the security agencies are doing that. Like I told you, they were able to nip the attack on some facilities by 1st October. And a lot of people have been, tracked, intercepted, and arrested.
So what you're saying is that we should have, help us understand or give us a confidence-building measure or strategy that the military or the other security agencies can actually, build in our citizens, so that we don't go into panic mode. Many people have already gone into panic mode. And the second leg of my point, you talked about the possible connection with the upcoming 2023 elections. Do you think there's an attempt to create some kind of political instability in Nigeria? Is there some kind of sinister thing that may be playing out?
You only talk about such things when you have credible evidence, but that notwithstanding, you cannot discount such things, because, whenever it is time for a general election, there is always heightened tension, and given the, the resources available to those occupying electoral offices, there is intense competition, either by fair or by foul. So you cannot rule out such things. It could be locally, it could be internationally, because we have had instances where countries' general elections were interfered by another country. So Nigeria, being the biggest black nation in the world and very influential for that matter, and of course there were saying that if Nigeria cop other countries' sneezes, that despite all, despite all these things, what I want you to understand is that Nigeria commands tremendous influence among the Committee of Nations, and its stability is very important. We know for sure there are certain people that they don't want this country to be united up and doing, because we are a wonderful set of people. If we are focused, definitely we will take the world by storm. So a lot of people, because of the market economy, because there are certain products that comes to us, and it will run them out of business. So if Nigeria is organized, there will be problems. So there are so many aspects. And apart from that, if you look at it, then there was allegation about 2.9 billion or 29 billion worth of crude oil was taken to a particular country, from this country, and it was taken illegally. But they are not making it public. Right. So you see, you cannot be elective. And the other issue is that regardless of whichever country you come from, this is the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Whatever you are doing should be in consonant with the value systems or the laws or the establishment of this countries. Take, for instance, if you are, for instance, either in UK or US, definitely there is no way our High Commission or embassies will do anything in isolation with the institutions in that country. Right. And from all indications, there is a kind of break in communication in the sense that possibly some of this information has not been shared, because if it has been shared, it could have been different. Because the line of thinking is that, why all the noise? When these guys are doing marvelously well, they were able to intercept a lot of things. And you look at so that is one second, the second leg about confidence building and what have you. Right. They have been doing marvelously well. They were able to preempt a lot of things. And I told you, the security, the heightened security we have seen, especially within the Federal Capital Territory and elsewhere, is basically the Nigerian military and the Nigerian security forces. They are concerned. They are concerned to make sure. But there are those working silently and in globe. And that is why the Department of Security Services, State Services has not even said anything, despite the story about alleged joint exercise between American Army and the Department of
Right.
State Services.
But at the end of the day, the fact that these threats after that memo, especially the one from the U.S. Embassy, did leak out, 48 hours later, we're seeing evacuation of some non-essential staff. That means the threat must be real. But at the end of the day, one would have expected that by now, the Nigerian authorities, to help calm the tension and the nerves of Nigerians, should have opened some sort of incident center to keep us updated as to what's going on. And married up with the fact that now they're saying, don't go to the mosque, don't go to the church, don't go to school, don't go to a hospital, even the markets. So as citizens, where do we go to? Where
But
is
people went
safe?
to the market, isn't it?
Well, the advice
And given
says
the number
go
of people that I saw in Transcorp Hotel, life goes on. So what I'm trying to make you understand is the fact that, yes, there could be things and we should not take it for granted. But the truth is that things are being blown out of proportion. But that notwithstanding, we have always been advocating that there should be holistic approach to security issues and even governance issues, so that every Nigerian should be taken on board. And why we are having this kind of thing is the issue of, do I call it breaking communication? Because an average Nigerian does not even know whom or what to believe, simply because they are not being informed as at when due. And that is why these tribal adversaries are taking more of the center stage above anything else, and more so is more or less like a routine thing.
That's why we wonder whether
we are calling,
yes,
just like you rightly said, possibly the method could be different, okay? The method could be different. Nigerians should also be well informed about things that are happening. And I appreciate the fact that there are certain things that you don't need to mention. Take, for instance, nipping in the bud the planned attack on some facilities by 1st October to embrace the government. And again, some of these things, they had been with us over time. Take, for instance, when you dislodge the Boko Haram in Dar es Salaam, they moved to Toto in Nasarawa, and of course they were dislodged by special forces. Of course, some of them were apprehended, some were killed, but some of them moved. And in most instances, these sleeper cells, they are indigenous to certain communities. It's just an issue of information that need to be, disseminated to the people as at when due.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us, Brigadier General Sani Kukasheka Usman, former Army spokesman.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.